Dear viewers and listeners, I welcome all of you to this episode of an interview with the Chief Electoral Officer, Nagaland. It is only 13 days away from casting our precious votes to determine who would be representing us in the Parliament for 5 years and a by-election to 26 London Assembly constituency in Mokokchung district. I'm Jonas Yandan, your interviewer, and with me here in the studios is the CEO, Shri Abhijit Sinha, IAS. Welcome you, sir, to this short interview in regard to the forthcoming elections in the state and for which you are working so hard to have a peaceful, free and fair polling.
Thank you.
Sir, could you brief us on the normal preparations and security arrangements for the ensuing Lok Sabha and by-elections to the state of Nagaland?
The preparations for the elections actually started 3 to 4 months back itself. We always know when the elections could be conducted, so accordingly we start planning for that. And the first and foremost is, like, whenever we conduct elections, we need sufficient EVM machines and VVPAT, so that we could get well in time, and then we also conduct the first level checking of those machines, so that we could finish in the month of February itself. And thereafter we also do a vulnerability mapping of our entire state. So for that we form sector officers, sectors we form, and we also get sector commanders and officers. So they also have done their part, and we now can categorize our polling stations between critical, vulnerable and normal. Then we also ask the districts, since election encompasses a lot of activities, so every district also appoints a nodal officer for each activity. But before they start working, they need to be trained. So those trainings also we could complete well in time. And the polling parties, the most important, I would say, in this whole setup, the most important personals, they also are to be trained by certain master trainers. So their training also we could complete in the second week of March. And right now in the districts, the training of polling personnel is going on. And besides that, Nagaland as a state, we have a shortage of vehicles. Our vehicles are not enough to conduct the elections. So we get them normally from Assam. So that also arrangements we have made, and there won't be any problem in getting those vehicles. As regard the security arrangements, the first batch of CAPF companies, they have also arrived in the state, and right now they are doing area domination exercises in the various districts. Then as I said earlier, the critical analysis has been done. So based on the identification of polling stations, those areas, the security forces are also taking many preventive measures. And after analyzing whatever arrangements we have made, we are sure that there won't be any problem in conducting these elections in a free, fair and peaceful manner. So it will be done efficiently and without any problems whatsoever.
So like as you have been working very hard, and then at the same time there are a lot of booths which you identify them as hypersensitive and all that. So what are the steps taken to address them?
Normally, whichever polling station is identified as critical, vulnerable, we put there the CAPF security personals. And in addition to that, we also make arrangements for webcasting there. Wherever connectivity is an issue, there offline videography is done. And in certain polling stations, we also put micro observers. So all these steps we take to ensure that nothing untoward happens in that polling station, and the voting there is free and fair.
So it is good to know with regard to the number of voters. So could you please specify the number of voters for the Lok Sabha and the by-elections with special reference to newly enrolled young voters, and also programs done to encourage these young people to enroll in the electoral process?
Yes. As on today, that is till the last day of nomination, one can get enrolled in the electoral roll, but after that the electoral roll is frozen. So taking that into account, the total number of electors in Nagaland is now 12,13,777. And as regard the 26 London Assembly constituency where by-election is going to be held, there the total number of electors are 12,482. Now when we come to this young voters, which we identify as those who fall between 18 to 19 years of age, so that for the entire state is 21,180, and just for London it is 265. And as you said, regarding the steps which are taken to increase their enrollment, every year you would be aware, I mean everyone is aware, there is a special summary revision which is undertaken. So, one of the most focused activity in that summary revision is reaching out to young voters and getting them enrolled. And further, our electoral roll, actually the final publication took place on 10th of January 2019, and after that also there is a period called continuous updation. So, here also at every level, be it village level or polling station level, we reached out to more young voters and they have got enrolled. Besides that, throughout the year we take various activities to get more and more young voters enrolled.
So, congrats to your effort. Now, in addition to the newly young voters who are being added, now we also have the problem of coast electors. And so, in this manner, how do you go about in weeding out such bogus voters?
Now, whenever this special summary we start, actually before that there is an officer called booth level officer. So, that booth level officer visits his area house to house, he does verification, and one of the main tasks that is given to find out who actually needs enrollment, and if there are some people who are in the rolls, but it needs to be weeded out, either they have moved out or they are dead, or there are some other reasons because of which they have become ineligible. So, that is done, and during the summary revision this exercise is done in a very focused manner. And besides that, every recognized political party, they are also requested to appoint booth level agents from their side. So, their job is also to help us, help the BLOs in weeding out the eligible entries. And besides that, there is a system of regularly getting from the registrar of birth and death list of people who have passed away. So, that is also passed on to the EROs, we call them electoral registration officers, and they at their level do the deletion. So, if you see this activity goes on in a very focused manner, and then there are since our entire electoral roll operation is now online. So, through computer also we generate similar sounding names, and where there is an apprehension that these people may be the same. So, that also we get carried out. And in the last year also a lot of multiple entries were deleted, and there have been deletions on grounds of people who have got expired. So, this all activities we carry out, and any time any complaint anywhere we get, the election machinery takes all those in account, and they carry out processes to remove such ineligible entries.
So, you know, like despite all your efforts of bringing about a peaceful polling, what happens is some undemocratic electoral practices, as reported from various quarters of the state, comes. For instance, village councils and other dominant groups dictate. What are the steps taken by the department for adherence to the model code of conduct on candidates and the party workers?
Yes, there have been instances in the past also where diktats have been given by the village councils and some civil society organizations either in support or against any candidate. So, which is definitely an illegal thing, because that adversely affects the free will of any electorate to exercise his or her franchise. So, in 2017 the government of Nagaland came out with an order where it was pointed out very clearly that such diktats are quite illegal, and if at all somebody makes it, so appropriate action would be taken against it. So, during the last assembly elections also, and after that the by election, we had strong vigil, I mean strict vigil was maintained by the entire election machinery on this, and if at all somewhere it was found that somebody is indulging in it, so the machinery used to move fast to counter all that. And last election also there were not many cases of organizations coming out openly in support or against any candidate. As regard the model code of conduct, it immediately got into force the day election schedule was announced, and this time it was announced on 10th of March 2019, and it remains in force till the completion of the entire election process. So, during model code of conduct there are certain guidelines which are to be followed by all the government departments. So, in fact even before the announcement we made them aware what are the guidelines that they have to follow, and there is a MCC cell formed in each district along with a team. So, they keep a tab on whatever is going on, and in case there is any violation they will take action against that violator. Even the political parties and candidates also have to follow certain guidelines, and at multiple levels, at RO level, DO level, they have been trained in that. And right now also in fact it's not that the complaint has to come only from the official machinery. Any citizen can also make a complaint to us if they see any model code of conduct violation. And in this election, we are also having an app called C Vigil, an app which anybody can download on his or her Android phone if he or she has, and then using that app, if one comes across any model code of conduct violation, they can take a photo, he or she can take a photo of that or a small video, and then put it on that app. So it reaches to the concerned person, and then action is taken on that.
So, really it is true that just being able to find out what is wrong, but if we are not able to have proper legal procedures which can control all this, so I think we need to put in more of actions against those defaulters. So much noise had been made on the national media in regard to the credibility of EVMs and the subsequent demand for VVPATs. You may enlighten the people on this.
Electronic voting machines have been used in all the elections right since 2000, and till now 3 general elections to Lok Sabha and 118 general elections to state legislative assemblies have been conducted by this, and more than 250 crore voters have also cast their vote in these machines with full confidence and satisfaction. This EVM machine is a standalone machine. It's actually neither computer controlled nor connected to internet or any network, and hence cannot be hacked at all. Further, these EVMs are manufactured only at 2 PSUs, public sector units, that is, one is Electronics Corporation of India Limited and another is Bharat Electronics Limited, and they are manufactured under technical supervision of an independent technical committee under the overall supervision of the Election Commission of India, thus making any chance of manipulation or tampering, I mean, that chance is absolutely not there at all. And besides the technical safeguards which is there in EVM, a lot of administrative protocols also we follow when we bring the machines, we check it up and make it ready for the polling stations. In fact, at every stage of EVM, the political parties and of preparation of EVM, the political parties and their candidates representatives are involved. I mean, they are also called wherever machines are checked and wherever we make the machines ready for the polls. And EVM machines are always stored in warehouses and strong rooms under guards. I mean, there is a security there 24/7, and whenever we have to move an EVM from any place to another place, it is always done, that also is done under foolproof security. So if you look at all these technical and administrative protocols that we follow, there is no chance whatsoever of any apprehension should also be not there. I mean, there is no chance of any possibility of any manipulation or anybody could do any tampering with it. As regard the VVPAT, the political parties in 2010, though they were, I mean, all satisfied with the EVM functioning, they just wanted that some more machines, another machine should be there where the voters can also find out, like the person that he has voted, that the candidate he has voted, whether the vote has gone to him or her or not. So accordingly, this VVPAT thing came up, and then in 2013, the conduct of election rules, actually that which allows which machine to use, that was suitably amended, and VVPAT was also made one of the machines which could be used with EVMs. Then in 2013, in fact, in the later part of that year, in fact, it was Nagaland where the EVM machine along with VVPAT was used for the first time in a by-election to this 51 Noksen Assembly constituency, and subsequently the decision was taken by Election Commission of India to use VVPAT along with EVM in the entire country in all the polling stations. So in this coming election also, in this poll which is going to happen on 11th of April 2019, in every polling station there will be a VVPAT along with EVM, and in the voting compartment when a voter goes, along with the ballot unit, that VVPAT would also be kept. So the voter comes into the voting compartment, he presses the button on the ballot unit, the candidate of his choice, then immediately in the VVPAT behind a transparent window, a paper slip, a printed paper slip will come. So that will contain the details of the serial number, the candidate name, and also the symbol of that candidate, of the, I mean, candidate what voter has selected. So voter, by looking at that, will verify and be satisfied that the vote that a candidate for whom he has voted, the same thing is there on the printed paper slip, and that way he can verify that his vote has been cast as intended. And then this printed paper slip after 7 seconds automatically gets cut into a sealed compartment which is there in the VVPAT. And so this way the VVPAT has actually increased the reliability and transparency of our poll process even further.
So, you know, the vote is considered so precious, and when people go for voting, if there is a case or a rumor of their votes, precious vote being manipulated, definitely it will create a lot of chaos and misunderstanding, and it is important that we assure the people again and again on the safety of the machines. So, vote is the determining factor for the kind of governance in a democratic country like ours. Your valued advice to the people of the state.
The right to vote is the most important right that any citizen enjoys in a democracy, and hence every citizen should be aware of his responsibility, and he or she should never miss an opportunity to go out and vote. Further, the voting also should be ethical and not influenced by consideration of caste, religion, language, community or any type of inducement. So, I would request all the citizens of the state to take a pledge to definitely come out and vote on the 11th of April 2019 and also vote in an ethical and informed manner.
Thank you, sir, for your valued advice.
Thank you.